Hey guys, welcome to a new movie review. Today I'm going to be talking about a classic film that a lot of people might even claim as their favorite film of all time, for some people at least. I'm unfortunately not one of those people, but I really like this movie, and I actually finally saw it all the way through for the first time recently. I've seen it, bits and pieces of it throughout the years. I've recognized all the little pop culture references to it throughout the years, but I finally got around to seeing the entire thing of Donnie Darko the entire way, all the way through, to finally have an official opinion of this movie. So I finally got around to seeing it, and I'm going to review Donnie Darko for you today. So in this film, you guys, a young man played by Jake Gyllenhaal, um, he has some type of disability that's related to schizophrenia. And he claims to both the therapist and people that he knows and loves that he keeps seeing a dark bunny figure that keeps warning him about a really tragic thing that's going to happen to maybe both himself and to everybody else in a certain number of days later on from the day that the bunny told him about it. He tells people he tries to take it in, and obviously people notice something wrong with him. He's having these daytime hallucinations that just are really out of control, and they get worse and worse as time goes on. Um, Also, he keeps seeing the bunny. The bunny keeps warning him about certain things. And he has this, not really a tattoo, but a marking on his arm that reminds him of how much longer he has until this tragic event thing that happens that the bunny warned him about will eventually happen. Um, so throughout the course of the film, we have to figure out, along with the character of Donnie Darko, is this bunny really telling the truth? Is Donnie Darko just crazy and using this bunny to kind of be accepted for all this insanity that's within him? So the film answers all these questions, or at least gives us the questions, and we have to think of the answers ourselves in some ways in this movie. And that's the adventure of Donnie Darko. So overall, guys, I liked this movie. I didn't absolutely love it like some people have over the course of the years. But I think it's a very good film. I think it's one of those films that are kind of like what I just did recently. If you haven't seen it, I think it is worth checking out and worth watching. I was able to track this down for about $3 at a Walmart somewhere. So that's a pretty good deal for this movie, I think, because it has a pretty big legacy of its own, and I think it is worth checking out. So, for my positives and negatives of Donnie Darko, I like how it's a very mysterious film. I like how we really don't quite know what to feel about this film until the time the film is over with. And even by the time the film is over with, there's still some things about it that we kind of have to think about and wonder about it to really kind of have a clear opinion of what we think about it. And I think that's something interesting about Donnie Darko, is because it is so mysterious, it gives it so much to think about by the time the film is done with. I also like the mystery behind the character of Frank the Bunny. We really don't know exactly why he keeps visiting Donnie Darko, but as viewers, we are constantly interested as to why this might be the case. It's just a very mysterious character that I liked continuously learning about as the film progressed. So I thought they did a great job keeping that character in the movie very mysterious. I also like the film's ideas about time traveling, being aware of one's destiny. The film has this like hallucination scene where Donnie Darko can see like this invisible worm thing going around where it shows him like he's about to go get a beer or he's about to walk outside to see something, and he does those things. So the film kind of begs the question of, is destiny already predetermined? Does destiny know where everything is going to go eventually, and us as human beings will figure out where destiny will take us? So the film asks us interesting questions that maybe it doesn't quite answer, but it asks the questions and it makes us think about those things, as well as about time travel as well for this film. And I like how the film asks the questions about the idea of time travel and destiny, and us as viewers get to take it in. And even though we don't get a clear answer by the time the film is done with, I like how the film does beg the question of those things. I also like the film's discussions and perception of fear. I think it does do a very good job of making sure that Donnie Darko does fear this bunny, that he fears this tragic event that he keeps being warned about, but he's not quite sure what that tragic thing is going to be. And I like the discussions that characters have throughout the film about fear and exactly what it is. Is it a choice? How do people view it? And how do people view other people having fear as well? I also like how Donnie Darko is a very open-ended film. Like I said, this film is definitely one of those kind of films where you don't exactly get every answer of every question by the time the film's done with. But I kind of like that about it. I like how it really makes you think about everything you were just exposed to while watching the movie. There's a couple of answers, there's a couple of closures to certain things, but I like how it is open-ended. I like how it really does make you think about everything that you just experienced. For my negatives of Donnie Darko and why I personally don't view it as this phenomenal classic that some people claim it to be. One of my negatives is I think it's a very mean spirited story. It's one of those films where I really can't support any character. I'm supporting him because I'm interested in what the story is telling me and how it's getting me interested in the story. But I think it's such a mean spirited story. I don't like how everybody is mean in the film. I don't like how everybody has such a negative perception of things. It's just not a very. It's one of those films where there really isn't a light at the end of the tunnel for a lot of these characters, and I don't know. There's something very off about it that's kind of a turn off to me that is just a little too mean spirited for its own good. Another negative I have with the film is it occasionally has some pretty weak lighting. Whether that's intentional or not, I'm not sure. But there's scenes where like Donnie Darko's wandering around outside at like really late at night, and because he's not around a light source of any kind, it's just really hard to see what's going on in certain scenes. Like I said, whether that's intentional or not, I'm not sure. But it kind of bothered me because certain scenes were lit pretty well, like specifically scenes that are during the day or in a house or anything like that. But there's other scenes where like Donnie Darko's walking around in the dark. You have no idea what's going on simply because the light source just doesn't give us enough visual information as to what's presently going on in those moments. Another negative I have with the film, and I kind of brought this up earlier with the mean-spirited story, there's just too many unlikable characters in this film. Almost every character that you think you're going to like or you think you can get behind as far as their motivations go, the film reveals something about them and you immediately just don't like them. Everything that you like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything. I try not to avoid spoilers in my reviews. But for example, like Patrick Swayze's character, he's a very likable character throughout the course of the film, and then something happens to him that's a big reveal, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can support that character anymore. Jena Malone, you can support her for a while, and then big reveals happen about her, and you're really not quite sure if you can get behind her character or not anymore. Just I don't know. I like it when a film can give us characters that we can really support and get behind and understand the motivations. I don't know if Donnie Darko really has any characters that are like that, and I don't know if I can get behind a film that does that. Another negative I have with the film is I think it is one of too many genres. There's certain scenes in the film that play out like a horror film, certain scenes that play out like a thriller, certain scenes that play out like a romance, and certain things that play out like a drama. And I don't know if it really combines all of those into one that well. I think I like it best as a thriller and as a drama. All those other things I just mentioned, they can probably go without. I think Donnie Darko does work its best as a thriller that asks us questions that it doesn't exactly answer. I think the better moments in the film very much are about that. So I'm going to give Donnie Darko an 8 out of 10. I think it is worth checking out. I think it's definitely a film that, once again, you won't get every answer for, but it's interesting to think about the questions that the film asks you. Like I said, a very mysterious film. I like its ideas on time travel and destiny, its ideas on the perception of fear and how people discuss it and how they feel about it. I like how open-ended the film is, but like I said, it's a very mean-spirited story that's kind of hard to support at times. The lighting in this film can get very weak at times and kind of hard to see what's going on. Too many unlikable characters for me personally, and I don't like how this film feels like too many genres going on at once. So 8 out of 10. It's a good film. I don't think it's quite the film that you might have heard about from some other people, but I think it is worth checking out.